I'm Kim Marie, co-founder of Parsifal Academy, and I want to talk today about the idea of what we are for as opposed to what we are anti or against, okay? We are in a culture that is really perpetuating the notion of war, the war on drugs, the war on viruses, the war on this or that. And of course, war is still breaking out all over the world. And we rarely see a strong focus on what we are for. We tend to think of life this way, life is happening to us rather than life happening for us. And at Parsifal Academy, one of the biggest reasons we created it, well, there's so many amazing reasons, important reasons that we created this for young adults to take a pause, to take a gap, to bridge between the life they've known or even the systems and the stories and the ideas they've known towards something new, something different. Most of us can feel it in our bones that something has to change, that something doesn't quite feel right, that we need to look at things differently. And so one of the biggest things we can do for ourselves, for our future, is to look at what we are for. Now, this is a tall order, actually. It's a harder question than we might think because, again, systemically, many of our systems, including our educational system, has asked us to conform to a certain way, to conform to a certain bunch of ideals or standards, to believe in history books that were written by people who won on the side of history, things like that. And what we're seeing right now, especially in young adults, is a greater questioning. Why are we doing things this way? What does this mean? How can this be different? Does this really have to be this way? Right? And we're feeling that. If we're parents of young adults, we're witnessing it. We're seeing these young people coming up and kind of fighting back, fighting not so much against, though. They're really looking at, what do I want to create? What am I for? And we do that in our program by supporting students to really discover who they are, look at their strengths, and then through their strengths, the things that energize them, that feed them, that make them want to show up and do good work every day. Through their strengths, then they look at, well, what is my place in the world? How can I show up? What do I want to create using these strengths? And it's all about this concept of what are we for rather than what are we against. And I think often because of the frustration in culture, in education, et cetera, we end up looking at it and going, I don't want to do this. 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 But when you're asked, what do you want to do? You get this blank stare. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not clear, right? We've gotten so trained to look at things with judgment and an anti-focus that we forget about what we really do care about. What are the values that we want to uphold for ourselves or honor for ourselves as we walk this path of our life? What are the strengths we want to offer to the world? What kind of vision do we have that is truly our own, aligned with those strengths and that vision, and is not something that we're told we should do to be successful or we must do to be successful? So I hope that offers some inspiration around a different approach. I encourage you to look at, what are you for? What are you aspiring toward? What are you wanting to create, as opposed to what are you against, as opposed to fighting the war on something, right? Let's look at new ways of creating new ideals, new pathways, new visions, and moving toward truly stepping into them in the most aligned way that we can.